Hi, welcome back to another Stock Hours video. Today we're going to do the Sunday watches, but we're a day late. Obviously, the market was closed on Monday. First, we're going to look at the earnings that we have for the coming week. There are a lot of bank earnings, so you'll see Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, and then Charles Schwab. So these are going to be the most important ones. You will probably notice slower price action this week based off of the anticipated bank earnings. So these weeks typically tend to be slightly slower. So basically just means defense in terms of trading, playing defensive and waiting for high probability setups. Next up, we got the calendar. So in terms of news that we're watching, obviously Monday was closed, January 15th. No news that I'll be watching is retail sales, industrial production, housing and permits, jobless claims, and existing home sales. Consumer sentiment also typically moves the market aggressively, so that's something to keep an eye on as well. And that sets us up for the calendar for the week. Now, let's look at the high probability setups that we're watching. First one I'm watching is Tesla. The key level that I'm watching is 215. So you will notice that Tesla's stuck in a channel here. Channel mean is lines up right around that 215 range, and we're pretty extended falling from that 265 level. So you notice the stock barely took a breather getting down here. I'm watching for a bounce around that 213 to 212 range, just like prior, except this time we're actually extended into, so there's a lot of selling pressure. Also keep in mind that Tesla's been relatively weak compared to the overall market, like the S&P and Nasdaq. And in terms of puts, I will be watching for a hold below this prior key level. This key level comes in from the weekly chart, so you will notice that was a prior pivot, prior resistance that's just trying to turn into support. It's formed support once, and we slipped below the second time, and now we might try to turn support as well. So for puts, I'll be watching a hold below that 217.65 level and expecting to see a move down to that deviation or around that 215, 213 range. At 213, I'll be looking at a calls play simply because this has been extended coming down into that deviation. Next, we have NVIDIA. So NVIDIA on the 1 hour chart, you will notice that we're stuck in a range, consolidation range. Typically that resistance will be a general area, not really a specific key level. So the resistance is probably from 550 all the way to 553. What I'll be doing here is looking at calls targeting that range of around 550 to 50 or the high of that range, and possibly puts targeting the low of that range. So I will expect this to stay in range for at least a longer duration, especially with the outcome of the bank earnings that are coming this week and the news outcome this week. Besides that, there is another trend here, the 30-minute trend from below. You'll notice that we tested a couple times, and then on Friday's price action, we heavily and aggressively bounced off of that trend line. So if we approach that trend line from below, I will be expecting the trend to react as a resistance. So just pay attention to that. If you're looking to play calls, you will need to pay attention to that trend line. Next we have we did Tesla, NVIDIA. We have Coin next. So coin has a gap. If you look at this on the 1 hour extended, you will see pre-market gap here around that Friday price action on the 1st of December. So we're getting back into that range. We have a prior support level of 129.60. It doesn't seem like it's reacting or behaving in a sort of way. So I'll be looking to play puts at a hold above that, below that 130 range, expecting a move down into the gap and possibly fill that gap. So we're gonna obviously watch relative weakness compared to Bitcoin, etc. And past that 125, I will be expecting a bounce after that gap has been filled. Next stock is Meta. So Meta has a 380 all-time high. We have a trend line on the 1 hour chart. That trend line has been tested multiple times. I did draw a lower one, so that lower one seems like it's respecting heavily or better. Calls, I won't be looking at calls until we've held above that trend line here. So I'm looking for a hold above that trend in expectation of a move into that 380 level. All-time high is at 384, so it's slightly further away. Won't be using this as a target. I'll be using the channel as a target. This is our channel here. So we have our lows, have our highs, and that channel lines up around that 390 range. So it depends on obviously what day it happens in. If it happens a week from now, target might be at 395 or 393. So that trend will eventually keep moving forward. So Meta, in summary, hold above 376, looking for a move into that 380. Next up, we got, last but not least, we have SPY. Show you what trend I'm looking at. So on the 1 hour chart, there it is. So testing aggressively from below as support. I won't be playing the actual break of the trend. What I'm mainly paying attention to is the fact that that prior support to the left, if I extend this slightly, there you guys could see it now. Prior support, turn resistance multiple times, at least 3 times. And now it's trying to form support again. So that's a heavy level, right? A lot of congestion at 475, indecision. What I'll watch is a hold below 475 and look for aggressive selling pressure to probably target that 473 range. I'm expecting that 473 range to form a support as well. So I'm expecting us to set a range for the week, expecting slow price action, so won't be targeting anything below 473. I'll set an alert here. That would be the target for that downside move. Besides that, I will be looking at a hold or a bounce at 470.20, 470.30 range, and that will be our last setup. So if you guys are new here, feel free to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.